So, Madame Hubert, it's my greatest honor to have a chat with you. Yesterday, I was in the cinema house in Beijing. I saw the film of you, Sidonie in Japan. You came in on the stage. You said, sorry, you were a bit late because you got lost. Anybody who would check your schedule in China would be impressed how energetic you are. Oh. It's very full.
I don't know if I can view it like this. No, I'm not. Well, I was here mainly to do a play, The Cherry Orchard. Yeah. And meantime, yes, I was presenting a couple of movies, so it didn't require so much energy.
It did not.
No, not really.
I've seen
what requires most energy to be on stage, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But it was, we only performed 3 times, and we've been doing this production for quite a long time. Yeah. And actually, last night was our final destination because it was our last ever. So that was a beautiful
not
moment.
only in China, but...
Yes.
Oh.
Ever, sure. We've been touring it like 4 years, and now it's over.
I have seen it, in Shanghai. I saw a young man sitting in the front row. In the end of the show, he stood up and bowed to you like a gentleman. Really, you are goddess of a lot of fans here. Yeah, you got a lot of fans here. Yeah.
Yeah, but I could tell, yes, that the audience was very warm and very responding. It was really an extraordinary experience to go like this all over China and going to 4 major cities, and it was really great. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. While watching this film, Sidonie in Japan, I can't help thinking, what if this background of story is in China? So what kind of culture shock or the connection with the culture you would have? And who would take your hand through this journey? I mean, symbolically take your hand through this journey.
Ce sont des gâteaux de lune?
Oui. On les mange aujourd'hui à la lune la plus pleine et lumineuse.
Avec mon mari, nous aimions beaucoup cette saison. Nous aimions marcher en forêt.
Comment l'avez-vous connu?
Well, it's a good question. Sure, we could possibly do the same kind of film in China. This film takes place in Japan in particular, but you can easily imagine the same kind of discover trip awareness in a country like China, of course. That's a good idea. I should suggest it. Yes.
You have been to China many times. Mm-hmm. Any kind of culture shock or connection, or what is your experience?
Well, in fact, I have to say, when I first came to China, I was really amazed how immediately, I don't know how to say it, but close I felt. Especially I remember I went to present a film at the Film Academy, and that was a long time ago because my first time in China was 30 years ago.
Oh, okay.
And so I went to do a kind of masterclass to the Film Academy in Beijing. And immediately I was quite amazed how much in tune the audience, they were young pupils, young students, but they had seen many of my films. I mean, they were immediately responding to the story. So that was quite special, I remember.
I understand. Yes. People talk a lot about your appearance in this reality show in China. You were there, you have an expectation to discover a great actor or something like that. But the reality, people saw it and talking about you were a bit surprised there, or anything make you uncomfortable there?
You're talking about this program?
Yeah,
sure. Well, it was very interesting for me to see how the young students, young actresses and actors would approach their work, and the way they would talk about it first, because most of the time they would also talk about their process, about their lives. It was not exclusively about acting, so you got to see some of the young students, and sometimes not so young, way of doing and life, and so it was really interesting. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, in a particular show that there's one actor who acted a bit extreme. People said you were kind of like surprised or shocked there.
敢问于小姐能不能到我府上一叙呀？春宵一刻，岂不快哉？
杨紫老师把这个于佩尔老师给吓坏了。
What happened there?
No, I wasn't shocked, you know. I mean, you have different ways of acting, and sometimes you can be over expressing, and sometimes more under expressing. But it's hard exactly because it's about a very short scene anyway. So I guess when you do a whole movie, you have moments where you are overacting, and some other moments where you are. It's more understated. So,
and nowadays, like in China, so young people dream of being actor or actress. I mean, now people talking about the cinema is dying, but acting is everywhere. It's such a blooming business. Everybody want to act, want to be part of it.
Well, everybody wants to be seen. It's a little different than acting, actually. I guess when you act, it's the contrary. It's the other way around. It's the best way of hiding yourself, but that's a different story. But yes, everybody wants to be seen more and more, not only in China, all over the world, because the accesses to the images, the accesses to images that you can do by yourself. And I understand that it is, of course, a lot in China when you do these little, videos and things like this. But it's far from a film. It's far from creating a universe and creating a fiction. But it's true, yeah. Many people want to be seen. But I don't think that the cinema is dying. No, not yet. I think I still have good hope that the cinema will always be there, because people need fiction and need to create imaginary worlds, and they want to watch imaginary worlds. So I still have good hopes.
Yeah. Once you talk about your acting, you said you are formless. Do you remember that? Formless. Like you don't think you have a certain face or body.
That was a long time ago.
Yeah, because you were talking about that being seen, or actually you hide yourself in acting. I found this something quite amazing, because this is almost the Chinese philosophy.
Oh, okay, so, that's why I feel
you
close to the Chinese.
So Lao Tzu, so you must heard about him. So the Taoism, so he said, the greatest form has no shape. The greatest music has no sound. That's how people discover your acting. I mean,
beautiful. I'm going to study Taoism.
And I don't know how the actor or the actress work. So I asked one of the best actress in China, Liu Dan. So she has a question for you, actually. So about how to act. She said she feel you are like let's say a storage room. You could store every single experience or observation from the daily life, put it there, and whenever you need to use it, you can take it out into your act. How would you observe and get all the experience for the acting?
Well, I wouldn't put it in such a conscious way, actually. I mean, it's a more unconscious process. And yes, but it's not, out of observation, I think. It's more about, it's so obvious, that people do certain things in certain situations, and let's put it that way. Maybe, usually I think in most of the time in life, people it's more understated than outspoken. And so sometimes in acting, people tend to think that you have to express more. And in fact, when you watch people, I don't know, in everyday situations, or especially when they are alone, and you can tell very little on faces. And sometimes the reactions are not so strong as they would be in a fiction or in a film. So I think, well, let's say less is more.
But underneath there could be waves of emotion going on.
And it doesn't mean that it's always the case, of course, otherwise would be very boring, if it could be only blank face and cold, It's just, a bit more nuanced than this. Yeah.
But and once you even made a joke that people should not invite you to the apartments because you will be curious to see what's behind every door because you won't know how people live. I mean, you do observe lives, right?
Yeah, I'm curious, so yeah. No, that was more like a joke, yes. But it's true, yes. It's always interesting to go behind the facade and behind, and actually when you go to someone's place, someone's house, you can tell a little bit of how that person is, Are there books? What kind of paintings? What kind of furniture? It says a lot about who you are. Yeah.
You have played more than 100 roles on the big screen, and some of them, on the surface, they could be quite, similar. So, for example, a piano teacher in France, a philosophy, teacher in France, but you act them so differently. At the beginning, I thought, how could you differentiate all these, characters? Then once I heard of one of your interviews, you said something like, you let them wear different shoes, then so that they walk differently.
Because I said, I think the shoes and what you wear or the way you walk, the body language is very important in a role. There was this famous French director called Chantal Ackerman. She's one of our greatest directors, and she's not here anymore. But once she was asked, how do you find your roles? Or she's not an actress, but she was asked even as a director, But she said, in my shoes, which I thought was very relevant in the sense that, the shoes are very important, whether you walk on high heels. I mean, everything is important, actually, when it comes to the costumes, and they are like the first indications you give to the viewer. So what you wear, it's exactly like, how people live. It's the same. It's the exterior signs of a role is always very important. And so the shoes. Well, if you walk, and in fact, yes, the piano teacher, she walks on flat shoes, and that's very important. It makes a way of walking very very special. If you walk on
almost
high heels,
floating.
Yeah, exactly, almost like floating. Something very straight.
Yeah,
I think.
I have to confess, when I watch Piano Teacher and Elle, at the beginning I feel shocked. Mm-hmm. Even at some point disturbed. Many people will say that to you, I think. But the magic thing is, after that, when I look back, I feel so relieved. It's like you see the complexity of human beings on the big screen, it can be shown on the big screen. So it is, at some point you feel it's allowed. It's okay to be this or that. Mm-hmm. And I even feel healthy. Wow, it's okay.
Oh, that's very nice to hear.
Yeah,
it's really full of the Austrian mentality, the relationship to music, the family relationships. It's really Austrian, and the way to really put the music on such an elevated level, like an exact metaphor also of the love feeling. I had strange experience last night because I was in a bar, I don't know where, and all of a sudden the piano teacher was screened in that bar. So
in Beijing?
In Beijing.
Oh.
So I saw part of it, and it was really it's very strange and interesting. And then I thought, when I was watching it for some time, I thought, there is... my performance is really connected to, to, first of all, to Michael Haneke's talent, sometimes even genius, because he's such a great director. And so for me, it's hard also to dissociate my performances from the directors, from the people I'm doing it with, and even more so in that case because, the whole movie was shot in Vienna, and certainly the same kind of film couldn't be done in France. That's for sure. Yeah.
In my limited film watching experience, this is a very rare film. I mean, it's very rare for me, and I think when it is allowed to have so much layers of humanity, it's great. And if a film or a character or a society only have one, dimension,
sure.
It looks everything's right, but it's
fake.
not. Yeah, it's fake. There's something deep inside to be wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And always, I think what's interesting in these kind of roles is, there is a first the immediate feeling when you see the film for the first time. The first, I would say, conscious impression of the film would be the brutality, the complexity, and then I think that what's interesting in these kind of films that there is another layer that remain in your mind, which is more unconscious, and that still works after you watch the film. And I think if you can use these kind of words with these kind of films, but a kind of emotions, behind the facade, behind the harshness of the subject, and I keep saying when I do these kind of roles, I try to maintain the part of innocence of these persons, so that it's not only about being there is a suffering behind, there is something that really takes you and that really moves you, I think.
These roles you play, they quite often have opposite elements at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So fragile and tough at the same time. So and innocent and guilty
and
at the same time.
Of course, that's what I mean. Exactly.
Yeah, that's what you like, or I mean.
Well, that's
charming.
Really, and that's what's interesting to really trying to dig in a role. Otherwise, it's not worthwhile. And also, because also it says a lot about human complexity, and I think what's really, I don't think I could have done this kind of roles like way back, but so years ago, even before I was born. I mean, when the cinema, because as things went by, cinema became more less black and white and good and bad. It's more it's more mixed now, which is good and interesting.
Yeah.
Went by, the more cinema allowed us to dig into this kind of a process.
Yes, it showed the possibilities, actually. Let's say this piano teacher, Elle, and my always favorite is the Things to Come.
Yes.
Yeah.
I understand that people like Things to Come a lot here in this country, which pleases me. It's because I love the film. It's a totally different tone. Apparently, it's much more gentle than Elle, of course, on the piano teacher. But I love the film. It's very subtle and really deep and and very touching. And I like the way it portrays a woman in a situation of, normally she's a victim, because she's and she goes the other way around, and she does not behave like a victim. Like a victim. On the contrary, so the antagonism between what the story is and the way she reacts to what normally that story should take her.
Yeah.
You know, she goes the opposite way, and she's not a victim because she does not really fight for not being a victim. It's more her whole spirit, constitution, body takes her naturally to a sense of life.
Yeah.
So that in French, the title was The Future, L'avenir.
The future, yeah.
So she has, also because she's a philosophy teacher, which is also reassuring. Sometimes, yes, it does be like you were speaking of Taoism. You know, sometimes it helps you in life, to think and to have this kind of a spiritual food. It helps,
It helps,
of course,
it helps
because obviously this is what helps her at this moment.
Yeah. But still, we are kind of swimming in the daily life problems. This is everybody. Yeah, I mean, these three films, Piano Teacher, Ella, and the Future. I feel all these women have something in common. They like to have control.
Yeah,
they like to control in the relationships with
especially
family, with lovers,
including the one of the things to come. Yes, she wants to take control on her sorrow, on her on this difficult situation, but she wants to take control for the best.
But at the same time, they would be kind of okay or even happy to lose a bit control. They like to be a bit risky.
Yes, it's true.
And
yes, well, especially Elle, of course. But for me, I like to say that it's a revenge film. Actually, she likes to
revenge in her own way.
Yeah, to revenge in her own way, exactly, and to take the risk of almost losing control, but with a strategy. She's a great strategist, actually.
Yeah,
she could run an army.
And in the end, the son came to kill the neighbor. That was planned.
Yeah, well, that's very interesting in the film because you don't. I don't know. I don't have any.
You did not discuss with the director.
No, because you don't. It's not so obvious that it was a plan between the son and the mother. It happens, and maybe something came before that it makes it happen, But it's not like a conscious discussion. You're going to kill him and things like this. But the very important point in the film that she shows, of course, no emotions. I always thought if I would have shown the least little emotion, the whole ensemble would have fall down, because that would be really
very true.
Disturbing. But no emotion means that she is happy that he dies. You know what I mean? She really wanted him to die.
Wow.
Of course.
That's why one has to watch it again.
Yeah. No, it's true.
Do you sometimes watch your own films or no?
Well, like yesterday evening, I watched The Piano Teacher. Okay. We have a white flower like this called sringa. So it looks like this, but it doesn't smell exactly the same.
Yeah, this one is only in this season, I believe. Yeah. In your culture, do you say in spring you have the flower goddess, 花神, like flower goddess coming? That's why when she touches, everything blooms.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Do you like this season in Beijing, the end of spring?
It's so beautiful. Yes.
Yeah.
All these flowers. It's wonderful,
Yeah.
really. But I'm leaving, unfortunately. But it's really a good moment to be here.
Do you miss Paris when you travel far away?
No, by no means, because I don't stay very long. And that was such an amazing trip, this one. So, no, I don't miss Paris, not at all.
People would like to know more about you. I'm not sure if you would like to share a bit about what kind of hobby in your daily life, what do you do consistently, anything you do?
I like to walk. I like to walk and to
Wandering
look at people.
around.
Yes, wherever I am. I didn't walk enough since I've been here because I've been wherever I went, you couldn't really walk, so I had to be driven most of the time. But yes, I like to walk and I like to read. Actually, I like to read, and I like to go to the theater in Paris. I go almost every day, every evening to the theater. We are very lucky. I mean, I guess you have a lot of theaters too in Beijing, but in Paris we have many theaters and many good places to go.
Yeah.
And I like to watch movies. So my life is
your own
quite
movies?
full.
No, not your own.
No, by no means, no.
But now being a star in China, it's hard for you to walk around because people could recognize you.
It's still very possible. Don't worry. China is very big.
Yeah.
Yes, of course.
What would you read? What do you like to read?
I read anything. Right now, I'm reading this Greek book, wonderful book. Yes. I was in Greece recently and I was doing another play because actually I'm touring 3 plays. You think I am busy, but I'm over busy, even more busy than you think. I'm kidding. So I'm reading this Greek book that I was recommended because I was doing this last play in Athens, in Greece, just before coming to China. And it's a great book.
Yeah, it's the birthplace of drama,
absolutely.
play.
It's a birthplace, yes. And actually, we went to, well, as always, often when you come to Athens, you go to this historical theater, which is the first place where it all started.
To get the energy and inspire. People believe you were, and you believe also, born to be an actress. I mean, you were just by nature. You start all this, one of a kind, right? You are the greatest, actress of our time.
I'm not sure.
Why do you need to work so hard? I mean,
no, but I don't work hard. I just do things I like, which is completely different than.
Yeah.
I know, unfortunately. I mean, so many people work hard just to make a living, and I am among the very privileged people. To work, of course, to make a living like everybody, but just to do what I love doing. So
I could not yet
very
agree
hard
more.
to love to do what you love doing.
Yeah,
it's
that's
not very
true.
hard, believe me.
Yeah, so the passion is there.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
it's you enjoy
just to love. Yeah. It's enough.
You always say that all these characters are foreigners to you. You are none of them. But in a way, you expose yourself to different cultures. In the US or in South Korea, to do film in South Korea, in Japan and in China. You also kind of like to risk a bit. People say you like to have risky, characters and try to lose a bit control.
It's not really risky to make movies with Korean director Hong Sang-soo, who is such an amazing director.
He is, yeah.
Yeah, it's more risky to go across the street and being run over by a car. It's less risky, not more risky. No. Less risky, yes.
But in the film, so Sidonie, in Japan at the beginning, Sidonie was in the airport. She was kind of not consciously maybe be late, and then when the baggage went into the machine, she said oh, I'm so hesitant to go.
Yeah.
But still, in the end, let it go. This is what I mean. Can't lose a bit control to go to a foreign country to do something I never did.
No, I don't think that. It's just to be open of the unknown, which is a bit different than being out of control. Actually, the situation is very much controlled. I mean.
Vous avez oublié de prendre quelque chose?
Non. Je suis plus sûre de vouloir partir.
Ah bon?
11 heures de vol?
Vous y êtes déjà allé?
Non, c'est la première fois.
I go to Korea, I work with Hong Sang-soo. His way of doing is very, very special, as you might know or not know. You know, there is no script. You shoot films in very few days, like 9 days, 6 days, 13 days. And so the whole experience is very, very special. Lose control would mean, where am I? No, just to be open to the unknown, and it's a very nice feeling. No, I'm insisting on, because it would mean that in my own country I'm in control, and because I go away, so I'm out of control. That's not exactly what it is. It's just knowing different ways of doing, and of also being surrounded with a language you don't understand. That's an experience.
Yeah.
You know, to never understand, especially when I don't speak Chinese. So I find myself, when I'm here, I've been here for a month, in many situations where I don't understand what's going on, and it's so you have to. That's an experience. That's special.
Mm-hmm. Would you have any plan to work with Chinese directors?
Oh yes, of course I would. Yeah, you have so many great directors in China. Sure.
Yeah, I have seen you on the same stage with Bigan and Jia Zhangke. You have seen the movies, I'm sure. Yeah.
Oh yes, Bigan is really a great director, and Jia Zhangke, and recently we have several Chinese films that were released in France. I'm thinking of Her Story, which I know was a wonderful success here in this country, and Black Dog also is a beautiful success in France.
Would you see anything kind of the special elements in Chinese films? You would, like, what could so attract you as an audience?
Attracted me is sometimes the way of speaking about the way people live now, you know. So that's interesting, of course, because with more maybe what you would call here anonymous people, as opposed to historical characters, and so it's interesting because it reflects way of living of people. Sometimes it's also the great imaginary world, like it is in Bigan's movies, for instance. All these films who speak about a quest of identity, and like that's the case in that film. Yeah, it's. But I think it's. Why do you all of a sudden, beyond the different cultures, because that's not enough to make for me a film really interesting and appealing. But what's really makes it worthwhile to watch is the style and the narrative style, and certainly that's what.
Yeah, when you select the stories, what are you looking for? So the characters.
I don't look at. I select more a director to work with, more than a story itself. And of course, the story is important, but sometimes, yes.
The director.
The director remains the key piece to the ensemble, of course. So that's only the only thing that really matters for me.
What is the quality of this director you will select?
Well, they have to you have to feel their personal universe. It's a way of for me, it's really cinema is like a language, and so you have to speak, to feel the strength of individual thinking, a vision. You have to, a vision.
A vision.
I think. Yeah.
You have been asked this question many times, but it's a bit cliche. Like you say, what is the difference to work with a male, the director, or woman, director? Is any, difference? But once I heard, so your answer was cinema is beyond the gender or something like. But would you?
Yes and no, because when, of course, there are differences. It's hard to once the movie is over, you can tell, of course, if you take Things to Come, for example. Yes, if I watch the film, I can say, I don't think I could have done it with a male director. It's really a female director movie, but it's not something that you can feel before.
You can identify it. What is the difference?
I don't know. There is something very feminine in the film, but it's a very difficult question, actually. And I wouldn't like to fall into some cliches,
I know.
Because it's a woman's film, so it's more delicate. It's not the way it works. You can be delicate as a man and you can be very strong as a woman. You know what I mean? And maybe when it comes to this kind of expression, you are a man director and you have your female part, and when you are a female director, you have your man's part.
I feel the same way. You don't want to be trapped in any of this theory or
definitions.
The category.
Categories.
There's one line in the film, Elle, make me laugh so much. She said when she found the ex-husband is dating a new girlfriend, she said, I don't worry about if you are dating a woman with big boobs, but if it's a girl who read, like both for second sex, she will swallow you up and spit you out. I laugh so much.
Yeah.
I mean, they realize, you are coming from the country, Beauvoir and feminism and all this. Through your time, you have explored all this, and you have a very deep-going dialogue with Antoinette.
Antoinette Fouque.
Yeah, Antoinette Fouque.
She's a great
two sexes
feminist, iconic woman. I was very close to her. She had a very open feminism. She wouldn't trap anybody into any definition.
Yeah, so what does feminism mean to you? I mean, like you said, you don't want to be trapped in one, definition, but it's kind of a topic we as women cannot avoid. I think even it's unfair sometimes. Men don't need to answer this question. they often this question kind of face us who are female at work or whatever. Like we have to answer this question. Over time, maybe you also have your own, definition or experience with it. Feminism.
Well, sometimes I said to myself, I was always feminist without even knowing it, in the sense that I never wanted to be in the shadow, I mean, artistically at least, and in my life also. But from the very beginning, from the moment I started doing movies, it was not really about doing women triumphant or strong, no, it could be weak women, fragile women, but in the center. It was a matter not so much of what was the woman, but the matter of the place I would occupy in the film, because that's how you really, to have a complete focus and light on the character, not being a secondary character.
Oh, so what do you mean? Like in the film,
like having the main role. That's what I mean.
You are the main role.
To make a long story short.
And all these women, they also like to to initiate, like they are.
No, but if you take a movie like I don't know, like The Lace Maker, for example, she's the perfect definition of a victim. She's a very dramatic character, but she's in the center. It's her story.
Okay.
Yeah. Like the title of the film, it's a very interesting title. Her story.
Yeah, not his story.
Yeah,
it's like when we shine the spotlight on a woman to tell the story from her.
From her point of view, not from the man's point of view. It's a matter of point of view.
That's interesting.
It was my way of doing from the beginning, You cannot be completely one-sided for that. It would be completely stupid. And I did do secondary roles sometimes, and just because they were great roles. But the idea of putting this woman in the center, it was not very difficult. In the case of The Lace Maker, it was based on a book, and the book is called The Lace Maker, so it's focused on this woman in particular. It's not called the fiancée of the lace maker, it's the lace maker.
I found even these female roles that you play, they like to take the initiative, even they are not shy away from the sexual, desire in the film. Even the Sidonie in Japan, so interesting. I mean, the characters, they can be so brave, so open, just to take the lead, just to say, to show it. Yeah.
J'ai envie de faire l'amour avec toi.
Au Japon, on ne dit pas ça. On le fait, c'est tout.
Well, in Sidonie, I
To
think
be
it's
the
a
mirror of your
mutual
life. Yeah.
encounter. I don't think she takes the lead. And it's very funny because, in fact, at the beginning, and this is something that happened when we started filming, it was not specifically written this way in the script, but Tsuyoshi Yara, the Japanese actor, is very, very tall and quite small. And so the first scene, he would naturally, I don't know why, walk quite fast. So I was always
you were
running behind him, which was cute and nice, because you can say, what, at the beginning, the story is not very, the perspective is not very encouraging, because he's walking so fast. And finally, they're going to come to terms and they're going to get to have the same rhythm finally.
Yeah.
Which it's a nice way of showing the differences in terms of nationality, of course, and culture, and let's say a little bit of culture, because maybe he comes from kind of an environment where the man is used to walk fast and not used to look behind if the woman follows, and finally, well, love makes it all, because they're gonna come together.
And the man takes the bag of, so the handbag of the woman, and everybody bows there. All this culture, there's the differences. Do you also observe something like this in China? I mean, this makes this, so I like this sense of humor in the film.
Yes, and it's very delicate, because it points out, but in a very delicate and gentle way, because it could be, it's obnoxious, to be, but it's so delicate, and so funny, So people bowing and like what you just said. So the way Élise Girard, the director, does it is really, really nice. Yeah.
Je préfère porter mon sac à main. Je préfère. Merci.
Do you see some of these details in China?
I don't know. I have to think about it.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. In the end of the movie, the director said she has worked with your daughter, Lolita Sharma. She's also a great actress.
Yes. This is how I knew Elise from at the beginning, because she did this film with my daughter Lolita Sharma, and the film was really wonderful, and my daughter was exquisite. She was so good in it, and the film is very delicate. It's about literature. It's not so easy to speak about literature in films, because my daughter was playing a young. She used to run a bookshop, a young seller in a bookshop, and then she was having a relationship with an older man, but always through love of literature, love of books.
And your daughter was with you in a film as well?
Yeah, she was with me in this film called Copacabana. In Copacabana, we were playing mother and daughter. So, and it was such a strange situation. I remember when we started doing the film, we couldn't take ourselves seriously. It was so weird to be a fake mother and, I mean, not fake, but fiction mother and daughter in the. So we had a little hard time to adjust, because in fact it made us laugh. We thought it was a bit ridiculous too. It was very, very nice feeling. Then of course we slowed down and then we were able to act. But at the beginning it was difficult because we laughed.
Namaste. Bonsoir. Ça veut dire bienvenue en indien. Comme tu vois, j'ai opté pour une soirée à thème. Un petit cocktail pour commencer. Merci. Bon, tu m'en veux pas, j'ai quelque chose sur le feu, faut que je retourne au fourneau.
So I can't help asking, how does it feel living with a mother who is called greatest actress of our time, under the same roof or in the long shadow of you, if I may say? How does she feel like?
You have to ask her.
So how about you? I mean, do you like, so you watch
Sure.
her film as well? Yeah. Do you teach her or you would exchange ideas?
I don't think you teach anything. You transmit differently. You transmit by the way you are, by, transmitting maybe my curiosity or my energy, as you said. Or let's say, I'd rather say my enthusiasm rather than energy, because I don't always feel very energetic. But enthusiasm, and in fact you can be very enthusiastic sleeping or being lying on your bed and still be very enthusiastic, but just reading or thinking, that's my way of being enthusiastic sometimes.
Yeah. And I have a daughter myself as well. So
how old is she?
12. Yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes people would ask me, would you feel something like a competition between the mother and daughter?
No, there is no, I don't think there is competition. There is something...
That's not the right word.
No, it's not the right word. There is something much better. I think I'm going to say it in French, because there is a nice word in French that I can't really translate in English, but there is what I would say, une émulation, which means like I was pushing her to be better and better, but it's not competition. I don't think so.
I think I understand it in Chinese. We say 青出于蓝而胜于蓝. I kind of got the sense, but I don't know the English neither.
Me neither.
Sometimes I think it's sort of encouragement, but my daughter sees it as pressure.
Yes.
She would rebel, whatever I say, she kind of turn off the...
Well, it's very healthy. You have to rebel anyway.
That's true.
Sure,
I will appreciate that. If she listens whatever I say, that's a problem. It's like in the movie. If everything goes all right, there's something big wrong.
Yes, of course. I mean, and in fact, even when you do a film, and even when, to go back to, what my main occupation, I mean, my other occupation is being a mother, of course, but my main occupation as a work. In fact, when you do a film, even if you have the greatest relationship with a director, with the greatest harmony, and there is always a space and a moment where you have to, not to resist, I wouldn't say that, but to be completely who you are. I think that's how you create a really interesting even performance in a film, and that's why, in fact, most of the time when I work with great directors, I don't know, maybe the way I am or the way they never really give me any indications. Maybe with the idea, when I was doing Elle, for example, Paul Verhoeven, who is a really great director, would say, I don't need to tell you anything, because anyway you are a woman, so you know better than I do, and that's because that was such a female, story, and with a very strong woman's point of view. So he said, you are a woman, you know much better than I do, so I don't have to tell you anything, which I thought was really interesting for an attitude as a director. So he let me do exactly what I wanted.
So being yourself is actually
being yourself, and it's not resisting, but really creating this space where you are really.
This is trust, actually. Allow you to be yourself. I mean, allow your daughter, allow anybody work with you.
It's exactly what it is.
Yeah. That's
Trust,
the trust.
And trust is the exact and the ultimate definition of what it means being an actress and a director together. It's all about trust, but really trust with a big T. Trust. It means it's a very strong word because it means that you trust him to take you sometimes very far. But in order to go that far, you have to trust him, of course, or her.
Like this very famous scene you were in this film.
And the lace maker.
Yeah, on the cliff. You open eyes, you're on the cliff.
Yeah, and I always said that scene is the perfect metaphor for the relationship between a director and an actor. Because in a way, when you are an actor, you go blind because you don't know exactly where you go. So you have to trust, so that being blind, it does not push you down the cliff, of course.
Can I go
or
a
you
little...
don't fall down the cliff.
Yeah. Voilà, stop. Maintenant, un demi-tour à droite. Encore un petit peu. Voilà. Et encore 3 pas en avant. Tu as peur? Allez. Stop. Et maintenant, tu peux encore faire un petit pas en avant. Tu n'ouvres pas les yeux, hein, tu ne triches pas. Allez, un petit pas. Stop. Bon, tu peux ouvrir les yeux maintenant.
C'est bon, hein?
Yeah.
C'est la lavande.
C'est lavande.
It's lavande.
Yeah, lavande. I think it's not lavender.
No,
it's something very similar to lavande.
It's very similar, yeah. Ah, ça sent très très bon.
Yeah.
Ah oui.
Wow. We're so relieved, right?
Oh, très bien. Delicious.
I once saw a documentary. You were playing this Greek play, Medea.
Medea. Yeah. Do you mind if I put my glasses
sure,
just
please,
for a few minutes
yeah,
and then
please.
because
No, you
it's
can
too
keep
difficult
it. You
for
can,
me.
yeah, you can keep it.
My eyes.
Yeah, please keep it.
Yeah,
and on the backstage, you practice really hard.
You saw that documentary. Yeah, because Medea starts. I was doing this actually where we first initially started doing the Cherry Orchard, and that is at the Avignon Theatre Festival, like your Huchang Festival. I heard you have a big festival here, where maybe hopefully one day I will go. And so I was doing Medea in that same venue, and it's a big open air space. And Medea, the play by Euripides, starts with this huge cry, a cry of despair. Of course, Medea killed her children, as everybody knows. And so I was training to do these horrifying screams. Yeah.
Looks like
horrible.
You give everything out. Like
yeah, but it's not so easy to scream like this, you know.
You do
it's
really
not
work
very
really
natural.
Hard, yeah.
Anéanti de douleur. Malheur, oh malheur. Oh, grande Thémis, et toi, Artémis, souveraine, regardez ce que je subis. Ils osent m'avancer. Oh Père. Oh ville. Je vais dessiné les enfants que j'ai faits. Aucun être au monde ne pourra les sauver. Et j'aurais dévasté toute la maison de Jason quand je quitterai ce pays, fuyant le sang de mes enfants très aimés.
You have any moment of fear? Stop acting. Is this something scare you?
No. No. No, not really. No. No. I have other subjects of fear than this one.
When I read some the introduction about you, sometimes, quite often, it was written like this: she might not be the most pretty, the actress of our time, but she's the greatest, something like that. I mean, do you care? People comment on it.
I didn't read them, so I don't even know what you're talking about.
So you never heard?
I never
really?
heard that. No.
Okay, that's great. Just to shut off this.
Never.
Yeah.
I do believe I'm very pretty.
Great. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
You have been interviewed so many times. For me, it's the first time to chat with you, so I hope it's also you can take something new back. I mean,
Absolutely.
that will be valuable to me as well.
It was very nice and it was very easy, and I thought you were very good.
Thank you so much. I keep this in my mind. Thank you. Thank you. Here is the exhibition about journey, so wandering. Okay. This is seeds they collect from there. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah. There's some crystal and jade. Yeah. So which would give you energy. People believe there. Yeah. Yeah.
We need it.
Yeah. Of course. Do you like to travel?
I do. Sure.
Yeah.
I love it.
You travel a lot, I guess. Yeah.
No, I like it very much.
Once in the interview, I heard you travel in 25 states in the US, even more than average Americans do.
Yeah. Probably.
Yeah.
Yes. Probably. That was a long time ago.
I would like to show you here. They asked me to give them some items, so I collect from my journeys.
Yes.
This is a door from Afghanistan. This is the caboose they cover, but underneath.
Oh, beautiful.
A beautiful girl.
Yes, beautiful girl.
Yeah.
Nice little braid.
Yeah, and even
beautiful.
All these body curves all there. But underneath,
and nice jewels.
Yeah, all the details. That's one of my collection.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
And this is you.
This is me.
Oh, this is so cute.
Yeah. This is a very
mini.
small,
a
mini little bag.
Yeah, that's very sweet. Wonderful. Yeah, you can put it.
Yeah.